Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dedicated his life to the pursuit of justice, equality, and unity, inspiring generations with his unyielding commitment to nonviolence and his dream of a world where people are judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. And whereas in the 62 years since Dr. King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech, our community reflects upon the progress made towards his vision. The sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood and further resolves to create a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. And whereas Dr. King's leadership in the civil rights movement achieved monumental progress in the fight against racial discrimination, including the passage of landmark legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which continue to serve as key legislative foundations for equality in our nation. And whereas Dr. King's legacy reminds us of the power of collective action and civic engagement, encouraging all individuals to stand together in the spirit of love, understanding, and hope to create a brighter, more inclusive future. And whereas in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, the Pierce County Council adopted policies affirming a welcoming workplace that values dignity, inclusion, and respect for all employees. And whereas the Pierce County Council further adopted ordinance number O-2025-570, establishing a community impact index and requiring community impact notes to evaluate the potential effects of proposed legislation on community outcomes. And whereas Pierce County proudly honors the life and legacy of Dr. King and recognizes the importance of continuing his mission by promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of our society. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 13th day of January 2026 by the Pierce County Council and Executive that Monday, January 19th is hereby designated as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Pierce County, Washington. A list of community events is available at piercecountywa.gov/council, including Tacoma's free Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration scheduled for Monday, January 19th at the Greater Tacoma Convention Center, featuring a community outreach fair at 11 and the main program beginning at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Let's give him a hand. Jonathan.
Thank you, Chair Hitchens and Pierce County Board. My name is Jonathan Johnson, longtime resident of Tacoma, recent past president of the Tacoma branch, NAACP, and also current member of the Black Collective. On behalf of these organizations and in light of the need that was identified by Dr. King and the progress that we've made and yet the work yet to be done, I would like to accept the proclamation as stated, and in the interest of what I think is important as a person, as an individual, is I'd like to introduce an individual who's moving very fast in the Black Collective and also in our community, someone who is making a difference where they are, doing what needs to be done. All the committees of the Black Collective are doing great things, and we do those things not out of a spirit of spite, but out of a spirit of cooperation, collaboration, and progress. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Frank Boykin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Madam Chair and esteemed Pierce County Council. It's always a pleasure to be in front of you. It's always a pleasure to be in front of community. We're excited about the proclamation for obvious reasons, not just because of what's been stated, but the expectation of how our work aligns with that mission. We are eager every Saturday, and I share that with you with humble but great gratitude, as we have met every Saturday for more than 50 years, as it dates back to the 1960s of our engagement. And that particular effort has been intentional about ensuring that we are aligned with the pillars that our community also see being aligned with Dr. King's dream: education, justice, political committee, economic empowerment. We're looking at these things very intentionally with the expectation of lifting up our community in ways in which we believe carves out a special impact for the Black community. So as we accept this on behalf of the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective, where Dr. Lau Kwasim is our chair and our steadfast, impeccable leader, we're extremely appreciative and extremely humbled to accept it. Thanks so much, as always, for your time.
Thank you so much for your work and your leadership. It's truly appreciated. I'm going to look to my colleagues to see if anyone has comments before we take a photo. Councilmember Denson.
I just had a quick comment. I wanted to thank both of you gentlemen for your work and for coming and taking time today to be with us. And I so appreciate the work of the Black Collective and the NAACP as well. I just wanted to make a note that we mentioned the Tacoma event that I know is huge every year. Gig Harbor is also having an event on Sunday, so you can go to both. Sunday at 3:30 at the Methodist Church, and this is probably the 4th or 5th year at least that we've been having this event. So I just wanted to thank the community members that are putting that together. It's a big collaboration between youth and adult community members. So we're really excited about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will go to Vice Chair Herrera.
Thank you, Chair. This council's brought this proclamation up many times over the years, and it's not just because there's a date that's aligned with it. We need to talk about what MLK has done. There are many streets in many cities across the nation with people's names on it, like Sheridan Street or Lincoln Street or whatever, just all kinds of names. And a lot of cities over the last 30, 40 years have changed street names to Martin Luther King Way Street or something like that. But if we don't talk about the name behind of the street, we could forget about it. Just like a lot of the street names here in many cities, we have no idea who those people are. So it's important to talk about it and get in front of it and do these things. So I appreciate the council for bringing it up every year. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another person that has arrived. Is this Shelley?
Yes.
Shelley, do you have some comments before we wrap up our comments?
Yeah. Good afternoon. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr., he took center stage at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And he said, the American Negro is isolated on this lonely island of poverty, surrounded by this vast sea of economic opportunity. And really, when we're talking about this man, we pay tribute to the fact that he was on this rescue mission. He was making certain that those who are fighting and playing by the rules and still find themselves just out of reach of those opportunities, that we have that responsibility to know what it feels like on that lonely island of poverty. And our job is to make certain that no one is left behind. And so as we are celebrating this occasion, as we're looking at this man, I want to thank you all, the council, for making sure that Pierce County is this place where no one is out of reach to the opportunities. That we, in our acts of service, we are all beholden to Martin Luther King Jr. and making sure that we are on that rescue mission. That's the work that we do. And so for the NAACP, it is wonderful to be here. It's wonderful that we are all paying homage to this great and important man. Again, Shalice Seacrest, the regional president of the biggest, baddest, boldest, and oldest civil rights organization in the nation. We're talking about the NAACP. And to Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to look to see if there's any other comments because I paused us in the middle. Councilmember Krueger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out how important it is to have heroes, and heroes who stood for good things. And he was very profound in speaking out for the right things. And those kinds of things are appreciated and should not be forgotten. He was all about it, equality. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Ayala, I see your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate it. I do want to highlight and note that all the work that, though we are here to honor Dr. King also influenced a lot of work, both within the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. And during that time, along with other members, contributed to things like SNAP, WIC, and school lunches. And so we are directly benefiting from a lot of that work that's taking place. Excuse me. And so within that, part of honoring Dr. King and that legacy also means continuing those efforts every single day to make sure that we don't roll back in that work. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your comments. I will just conclude before we invite you up to take a photo. Thank you for the partnership and the work that you within the Black Collective and the NAACP have done with Pierce County on our journey to become an anti-racist county. We continue that work to really figure out how do we right wrongs, how do we lift people up, and how do we fix disparities, and we still have work to do. We know it when we look at our data, and we appreciate that there's continued interest in continuing to partner with us and that we don't just throw our hands up and go, hey, we can't do anything. It's literally the work. We are all people, and really appreciate that. We pause and celebrate the wins, but we still have work to do. So thank you all for the work that you do every day tirelessly. It's truly appreciated.